presentation. As he said, go over some features, and then he was going to answer your questions.
Thank you, Ron. There's not a handout for this one, but we will be posting both of these online. So this one, there's not a lot to this. Again, I'm just going to touch on a couple advanced features. You don't need these advanced features, but you might find one or two of them are useful. And then hopefully there'll be about half hour, 20 minutes for your question. The first advanced feature is multiple databases. So by default, what we were doing was all happening in one database called default. It's possible to make as many of these databases as you want. And the reason that you might want to do that is if you're caching in multiple areas. You know, you can bring one pocket query into one database, a different pocket query into a different database, so they're separated by location. The other thing people use the multiple databases for is they'll use one to keep track of their finds. You know, so after you've found a cache, you can move it to that other database, or you can use the My Finds pocket query, and you can actually download a list of all the finds that you've ever had. You put that in a different database because those aren't caches you're going to download to your GPS. You just want a record on them for yourself. To create a new database, there's a database menu and you just go to new. It's pretty easy. Let me just show you that quick. So as you can see, one of the drop at the top of the grid view is the database. Right now it says default. That's the default. If you want to make a new one, go under the database menu, go to new, and you give it a name, ABC, and create it. So now we're on the ABC database. There's nothing in it because we haven't loaded a pocket query, and you can switch back and forth easily between two databases from the drop-down. We can go back to default. I have one in here for My Finds. So this has, you know, the finds that I've had over the years. Go back to default. So when you switch databases, you basically, each one is kind of like a separate little area. You know, the logs that you've been marked to publish, the filters you've applied, the flags, those are all on a per database basis. You can change the grid view. There might be more information that you want to see. You can change the order of the columns in the grid view. You can sort. We already showed sorting the columns by any one just by clicking on it. And once you have the grid view set up as you want, you can save that away. If you go to the view menu and save current view, that way you can come back to it the next time you're in GSAK. To add a field to the grid view, you can right-click on any column and hit, there should be an add, or you can go to view, add, remove columns. And this list here is basically there's all kinds of information in the pocket query. It's not all shown in the grid view. You know, so let's say you want to see the country or the county. Let's throw them both in our grid view. So I clicked on those boxes. Now our grid view is going off the screen because it's too big. The country is being shown here, United States. The county is actually not updated unless you check a special box when you load the pocket query. So unfortunately we're not showing that, but here's the country field that we added. Let's say we're really interested in the country, so we can slide it over here and drop it there. And that's kind of the view that we like to have the country over there. So we go view, save current view, and then you give it a name. BBC. And now, under view, selected view, otherwise if our screen wasn't so small, there would be another drop down over here that would show what view you're selected on. So you could have different views, you know, one showing possibly the coordinates or, you know, how many finds it's had. Those are all different fields you can this is kind of to save you time. One of the problems with GSAK is there's just so many menus, right? You know, and it's not obvious that, hey, publish logs is under geocaching.com access. Does that make sense? For some people it doesn't, and that's what gets them goofed up. So you can add buttons to do these functions to the toolbar. GSAK calls it, in some cases, the speed bar. To do that, you simply go to the toolbar and right-click on it. So this is the toolbar. It has a couple of things in here. Some of them are, you know, like go to your home coordinates, so different functions. But if you want to add an icon for something you do often, you right mouse click, customize tool buttons, and in this menu is a list of all your buttons. So let's go to geocaching.com access, download pocket queries. If you want that button, you just drag it like I did up to the toolbar. That's something you do a lot, so add that. How about publish logs? Put that, and you're done. And it saves that, so the next time you go into GSAK, you can use it. So now you just click on the button, and it will show us the pocket queries we can download. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the geocaching API and the features that it provides. You've seen some of it. The published logs, the retrieve pocket queries are all part of the geocaching API. And the whole geocaching API came about when they started to write phone apps like the iPhone app that Groundspeak wrote for geocaching. They needed a way to retrieve cache information from geocaching.com automatically. Kind of like a backdoor way to get data and send data between their servers. That's what the API provides. And GSAK, it's not a phone app, but it uses it to do some nifty operations. You've already seen the published logs. You can actually get geocaches without doing a pocket query. There's a caution here that if you want to get a lot of cache data, it's kind of slow. Yes. They're agreeing with me. So I would say anything more than 50, or if you want to get more than 50 or 100 caches, that you do the pocket query route that we just showed, where you go to geocaching.com and create your query. But if you just want to get a small number, rather than going through the trouble of creating the pocket query, you can go and directly grab that information using the API. And kind of like the pocket query, you got to specify what caches you want to grab. You can do that by GC code, you can do that by location or by a rectangle. I'll show you a quick demo here. Another thing about getting geocaches through the API is you're limited in how many you can retrieve in a day. The current limit is 6,000, which seems like a lot, but they go quickly. And it doesn't reset for a 24-hour period. It basically is blocked at that point from downloading more caches. Eventually this will get faster because, again, this is what all the phones are using, and you won't have to do the pocket query step that we talked about in the beginner's class. Let me just show you how this would work. Let's actually go to our new database that we created because we know it's blank. There's nothing in that. So rather than getting a pocket query, we go geocaching.com access, get geocaches. Kind of like a pocket query, there's a lot of options here. Normally you could just select the defaults, but some of them make sense. Like you don't want to include, by default it doesn't include the caches that you found. But if you check this box, it will. The maximum number to fetch, I don't know if 100 is it's 100 the default, maybe it's 10. But that's where you'd enter into this box. And your options for specifying which area you want the caches from are right here. Circle, rectangle, or by the GC code. So if you say by GC code, it's going to get the 100 nearest to that cache. By a circle, it actually lets you select the map point. So we have circle here, we hit this Google map, and if we didn't lose our internet, it thinks we're here, somewhere on I-94 by Delafield. Okay. So it would be getting the 100 nearest to wherever we have this point in Delafield. And you can move this, just drag and move it. We're somewhere down here, aren't we, Renee? You can zoom in on this too. So you have all the features that you would have. It's kind of confusing, but you click this button that says return coordinates, right? And then it puts the coordinates of where you clicked in the map into this box. So we have our location, we want to get 100 near there. We won't worry about filtering. And we hit OK. And now it's basically going to the geocaching.com server. It's making sure that I have a membership. And should be downloading shortly. Yes, Carrie.
Okay, back on get geocaches. It says include, found by me and disabled. If I check that, that won't include that, correct?
If you check that, it will include that.
Oh, so if it's blank, it won't.
If it's blank, it won't, yeah. By default, you know, that's a sensible default, right? That you wouldn't want to include stuff you've already found. And as you can see, there's probably a lot of people using the API today. We got a wheel going here, and it's 20 minutes. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've done 100 or 200, and it's taken a minute or two.
I download 1,000 at a whack, and it takes.
Yeah, I limited it to 100 though. I had a limit set of 100. I think you can, well, 6,000 in a day, so I believe it would let you do it. It would take your computer approximately 1 day to get to 6,000 caches downloaded. But, okay.
I download 1,000 at a whack, I bet you don't even take 3 minutes.
Through the API, through this mechanism.
Yeah, just try. At home, I don't know.
Does it go, and it goes quick for you? Are you doing it at 3 in the morning? Okay. So there's conflicting information. Some people it's really fast, some people it takes 20 minutes. I've seen it, like here it took what, a minute or two to get these 100 caches. Still, it was probably quicker than making the pocket query. So here, it shows here that you got 100. So from this point, you can treat it just like you got the data from a pocket query. The question was, the pocket queries count towards the 6,000? The answer is no, but there's a limit of running 5 pocket queries a day. So there's limits there too as well. Another thing the API can do is it can let you refresh the data for information or for caches that are already in GSAK. You know, let's say you created a pocket query and loaded GSAK a month ago, but now you're going to come back to Greenfield. You want to kind of do the same caches, but you want to see if maybe there's new logs, maybe one has gone missing. And using basically the same mechanism of contacting the server, it will update all of the items. Under geocaching.com access, there's a refresh cache data, and it will go through the same process. That one will not put new ones in. Whatever's there, the refresh cache data will just grab new data for that cache. Correct. You'd have to go back to get geocaches. Another thing you can do is actually give caches a favorite point right from GSAK, and it'll use the API to tell the server, hey, give it a favorite point. You can also do this when you're using the publish logs feature. You know, right when you're writing your log, there's a little checkbox